This is one of the most upsetting stories you would ever hear about. The tragic case of Miss Christiana Oluwasesin in what would be the most tragic lynching ever done to a woman. Miss Christiana Oluwasesin was born in Ekiti State in 1977. She was married to a biolab scientist by the name of Michael Oluwasesin, where she got her last name from. Now, Michael served in Gombe State, and eventually after Michael's service, he got a job at one of the specialist hospitals there in Gombe State. This job was given to him by the government, who thought he was outstanding during his NYSC service year. A few years later, Christiana would come to Gombe State to serve, where she would meet Michael. Eventually, after her service, the state retained her, making her a teacher in the government day secondary school in Gandu, Gombe State. So invariably, Christiana and Michael settled in Gombe State, where they both seemed to have something going on for them. At this time, they were also making plans to return to their hometown, Abeokuta. Now, the government day secondary school is a mixed school. Although girls had their all class and boys had their own classes, I don't think at the time boys and girls mixed up in one class, because this particular class where the tragedy began was said to be an all-girls class. So I want to believe they had an all-boys class and they had an all-girls class, but still in the same school. The school was also mixed with Christians, but majority of them Muslims. Within the years they were in Gombe State, they got married and had 2 children. Soon afterwards, Michael got a job offer at his hometown in Abeokuta, and he eventually took the offer. So Michael left Gombe State to Abeokuta, leaving Christiana with the children. One of the major factors why Christiana did not join Michael earlier was because she had to resign the right way. She had tendered her resignation later, but she could not leave until the term was over. So she agreed that after the final exams in March, she was going to go to Abeokuta to be with her husband. Except that did not happen. So before we continue, please make sure you have subscribed to my YouTube channel and ensure you turn on the notification button so that you won't miss out on any new video that I make. On the 27th of March 2007, this was the day the students of Gandu were supposed to be having their final papers, which was an Islamic studies exam. Miss Christiana was assigned to the all-girls classroom to invigilate that exam. Don't forget, she had already tendered her resignation and she was already making plans to go to Abeokuta to join her husband. Now, this is where things began to get really bad. Usually, before students start their exams, they are asked to get rid of any book, bags or papers that might implicate them in terms of exam malpractice. So I imagine Christiana asking the students to get rid of their bags and books and settle down for the exams. Although different versions have it differently, some versions said that Christiana got impatient with some of the students who were still holding their bags and began to drag it from them, flinging it away. Some other sources said she collected it gently from them and dropped it in front of the classroom. It was in the process of collecting the bags and books that one of the students began to cry, saying that Christiana had touched her Quran and had desecrated it. Although the Quran was in the bag of this student, she still maintained that her Quran had been desecrated because Christiana Oluwasesin had touched it or had thrown it away. Even though Christiana tried to tell her that, okay, she did not know that the Quran was in the bag. The student who was crying soon communicated to her fellow students to tell them how she felt regarding her Quran being desecrated. This sparked outrage amongst the students that began to chant Allahu Akbar, meaning God is great. Now the chaos began slowly, and this attracted a fellow teacher by the name of Aluke Musa Yila, who came into the classroom and was told what Miss Christiana had done. Mr. Aluke quickly took the side of Miss Christiana, urging the students to be calm, trying to explain to them that she wouldn't have known there was a Quran in the bag, that if she had known that, she wouldn't have touched it or tossed it away. But the students did not stop chanting. Now, these students were between the ages of 12 to 14, and the chaos attracted more teachers who came into the classroom. So in between the students screaming and yelling and throwing tantrums, Alukeyila took Miss Christiana away to the principal's office. It was at this point the students became very aggressive. They marched out of class, alerted other students in the school, probably both male and female, letting them know what Miss Christina had done to the Quran. And that was how things just escalated. More students joined in the chant. Some even went as far as informing other members of the community where the school was situated to let them know that a Christian teacher had desecrated the Quran. And the funny thing with this is that the words of mouth began to change. From saying Miss Christiana threw a bag that contained the Quran or touched the bag that contained the Quran, when the students began to pass the message around, the story somehow changed into the claim that Miss Christiana had torn the Quran. This sparked outrage in the community, who marched to the school, chanting and yelling and asking that Miss Christiana is brought out to be stoned to death. At this point, Miss Christiana was in the principal's office with Mr. Yila, while the principal was outside his office trying to address the angry crowd that turned out to have also been infiltrated by extremists who were demanding that Miss Christiana come out and be stoned to death. But the principal refused, trying to beg them. It was said that there were police officers there, but the police officers could not contain the crowd. Soon the crowd began to throw stones at the principal and at the policemen. Mr. Yila, who is with Miss Christiana in the office, soon asked Miss Christiana to go into the principal's toilet, which she did. He then locked her up in the toilet and then locked the principal's office to join the principal outside to address the crowd, trying to beg them to calm down, even promising them that they were going to arrest her and probably send her to face the law in the Sharia legal system. But the crowd did not want none of that. Eventually, the principal and Mr. Yila were overpowered. When the students began to destroy properties of the school, they broke down windows, set buildings on fire, and even began to physically assault the principal and Mr. Yila themselves. Soon they broke into the principal's office, broke into his toilet. It was at the toilet point that Miss Christiana was first assaulted. It was said she was beaten, dragged out of the bathroom into the crowd, where her head was smashed with a rod, causing her to bleed profusely. The principal, seeing what these kids were already doing to Miss Christiana, jumped into the crowd and tried to shield Miss Christiana. The crowd didn't want to hurt the principal, and so a group of them dragged him out and beat him up a little. And then they continued with Miss Christiana. It was said she was stabbed multiple times, beaten, stoned, spat at. Eventually, the ringleader of the extremists picked up a knife and slit her throat. Then it was said that dirt, sand, paper, dustbins were poured on her corpse that was laid on a mat and eventually set on fire. While Miss Christiana was burning, the school was in chaos. Now, at this point, Miss Christiana's baby was 10 months old, the last born. It's not clear where the child was at the time, but it was said that the students were also looking for the child in a bid to also hurt the child. But luckily for the 10 months old baby, a Muslim woman was said to have reached the baby first, where she hid the child under her skirt and then walked out of the school. Miss Christiana's vehicle was also set on fire. Word soon got to Michael, who was clearly distraught, coming back to Gombe State, only to pick up his wife's body that was burnt beyond recognition. Michael took his 2 children and went back to Abeokuta. Up till this day, justice has not been served for Christiana Oluwasesin. At the time, it was said that 19 people were arrested in connection to her death, but they were eventually released. Michael has been fighting to get the Gombe state government to pay damages for all the pain that his family had gone through. He blames the Gombe state government for what happened to Miss Christiana. However, the Gombe state government has not responded positively to his claims, as at 2010, an article reported that Michael was getting death threats from unknown callers threatening to kill him and his children if he doesn't drop the case against the Gombe state government, which he vowed that he would not drop. It is unclear what the situation is now with Michael Oluwasesin. It is unclear if he had gotten paid or if he had gotten any form of compensation. But what is clear is that Miss Christiana Oluwasesin has not gotten any justice yet. Now, it is important I let you guys know of a theory that suggested that Miss Christiana might have been targeted long before that day of the Quran, which might have made the students so unforgiving and so eager to hurt her. There is a particular article that I came across that said that days before Miss Christiana was killed, she had been attacked in the community by a group of boys who made certain threats to her on her way to school. So if that is true, that Miss Christiana had been receiving some kind of threats in the community days before this particular tragedy happened, maybe she was most likely a target. Maybe this girl was sent to frame her. Maybe this might have been all a setup just to get back at her. Then I also did a little more research regarding the position Miss Christiana held in the school, and I found out that Miss Christiana was head of discipline. It was said that she was the disciplinarian head of the school, more like the person who was in charge of punishing students, deciding whether or not a student gets expelled or suspended. So if that is the case, what if Miss Christiana was actually targeted because of her method of discipline? What if she might have disciplined certain group of students who might have bottled up hate for her, and knowing that she was about to leave the school, they decided to plot against her? Probably that was why some boys went into the community to get their attention. Probably the same community that has been targeting her days before she was eventually killed. So this theory suggests that maybe Miss Christiana's death was not as a result of the Quran that was thrown. Could this be that this was all a setup to get back at a teacher the students did not like? So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked this video, don't forget to click the like button, share with your friends, and also don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notification button so you can get notified once there is a new video, as there would always be. Thank you for watching.